The Penguin, which is Batman's spin-off, was announced for HBO Max and will star another good one, Colin Farrell.
Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah, he was the Penguin in the Batman. I saw that while I was in Vegas in IMAX.
Oh, how did that? Your feelings on that? I haven't seen it yet, but how were your feelings on that?
I really enjoyed it. I give it a 9 out of 10. My
That's
first initial coming right out of the theater was like 8.7. Then I had time to think about it. I'm like, okay, I got to bump it up to a 9.
All right, where did the 0.3 go and come from?
I just felt it necessary to give it a 9. I mean, that I walked out like the last act was a little like underwhelming. It's still very good, but the first hour of that movie was probably the best hour. Is the best first hour of any comic book movie I've ever seen.
Wow. Okay.
Simply because, not because it was like Endgame levels where, or Infinity War levels where it's just like crazy action. It was the way they filmed it, the writing, the film noir vibe the whole movie had. It's a very like detective, dark, gritty, angry Batman. And like the reveal of Batman, the first time you see Robert Pattinson in the bat suit, and it was just like, it was like, you know, it was like like, god damn, this shit is crazy. It was like super grounded and just realistic. Robert Pattinson's Batman is like no other Batman you've ever seen before.
That's good.
You can tell that there's going to be an arc, and there was an arc within this first movie. So you can see some character growth like already. But man, oh man, the movie itself was different. It was gorgeous. It was not as gorgeous as Dune, but like it had a Dune effect where I'm watching the movie and I'm just in awe with the shots that they had. The fighting was amazing. Wide shots, you could see everything that was going on. There wasn't any shaky cam, fast like shit. It was well
After having
choreographed.
just watched Liam Neeson in Taken.
Oh yeah, no.
That's a stark contrast.
Yeah, no. You know, the reveal of the Batmobile in that scene was absolutely insane. Like if you got to see it on the biggest screen possible with the loudest
sound system you can get your hands on.
Oh my god, man. It was good. Better Batman than Christian Bale, hands down. It's not even
for me. That's not hard because I didn't like Christian Bale's Batman at all.
Yeah.
I thought that he was backseat to all of his villains in the movies. So yeah.
I think Robert Pattinson's Batman is the best Batman we've got, but not the best Bruce Wayne. I enjoyed Ben Affleck's Bruce Wayne. But with that being said, I think this character is going to kind of grow. The Bruce Wayne is going to kind of grow to the kind of Bruce Wayne that I liked. And it was 90% Batman and 10% Bruce Wayne. So like, whenever you saw Batman, you typically saw him in his suit. He's doing all of his detective work in his suit. Obviously his fighting. It's almost as if for the first time, it's almost as if the Batman was a character and Bruce Wayne was a character. And it was almost as if he was running from himself as Bruce Wayne to be Batman. And the way that he used fear to scare or to neutralize his enemies or the baddies of the world was just so well thought through. The writing in this film is the best Batman writing you'll ever see, for sure. And to the casuals that are like, oh my God, I just want to see more fantasy stuff. Like, you know, more of the Batman, the superpowers and the big baddies. You're not getting that in this. This is a very grounded, realistic version of Batman that I just loved. And the writing is so smart. It's so subtle. The Riddler was great. The stuff they did with him and the clues there was almost no comedy in this movie at all, except for a couple of small parts that you chuckled at simply because of the way the Riddler was. But it was very serious, very dark. The more I think about it, I kind of want to give it like a 9.2 now. Like, the more I think about this movie, it's not a movie that I would want to jump in and rewatch immediately, but it's definitely rewatchable. And I almost think it's necessary to rewatch it at some point because there's a lot that goes on. It's almost 3 hours long. It's like 2 hours and 50 something minutes, paced very well. Doesn't feel the length. But there are a couple of scenes that I could have done without. But all of the characters get their due, except for, I think, Alfred is the one that kind of took the shelf the most. But when we got him, it was a very, like, almost moving, emotional scenes that we've had with Alfred, and the relationship that they had was different than any relationship. They did something, I'm not going to spoil anything, but they did something about the Wayans family that I've never seen before in a Batman movie, which was a nice element of surprise and added a lot of conflict for the character. The Penguin, the Colin Farrell, he was unrecognizable, and you could tell he was having so much fun in this role. He was over the top, but not in like a cartoony way, in more of like a mobster type, Godfather, over the top type that just worked. And I think that's why he's getting his own show. Yeah, I got to go 9.2 now that I'm really thinking about it. If anybody has their reserves about Robert Pattinson being Batman, I'm telling you, drop this whole Twilight boy shit. The guy can act, and he can act better than your favorite actor. This guy's the real deal. And his Batman voice was spot on. You can actually understand everything the dude's saying. He emotes so much with his eyes. There are so many scenes where he says nothing, but he says everything. And it's so powerful that, like, literally there are scenes where there's characters that are talking to him, and he just looks at him, and you know exactly what he's saying without him saying anything, and the people know what's up. And there's something about this Batman that is just so grounded and well put together, and he's not this big, yoked, jacked up, ripped Batman that we had with
Well,
Ben
you know
Affleck.
what? He said that if he was going to train, and he did, he refused to take steroids for the role. So he did anything that you see, like his body transformation.
Yeah.
It's natural, which is rare because he doesn't have bad genetics to begin with. He actually has pretty good genetics. So, like, the stark contrast that people are used to where they see, like, fucking Thor. It's like, all right, I need you to gain 50 pounds of muscle in 6 months. And they're like, yeah, how did you get that big? Oh, I ate a lot of chicken and broccoli. I worked out like 6 hours a day.
No, you took the
like,
juice.
no, you were on...
Yeah,
you were on O.J. Simpson, straight to the main vein.
Yeah. No, it's great. Like, yeah, the Bruce Wayne stuff is the closest stuff you're gonna get to Twilight Boy, but you understand why it's like that. There's a reason why his character's like that. And as the movie progresses, you start to see a little bit of development, and they do it in such a subtle way that isn't like a punch in your face. It's so smart. It makes it so that the audience is not treated like your 13-year-old moviegoer that wants to go and see some Batman. This is a well-thought-out psychological thriller with some horror element in a comic book world. The city of Gotham was like a character in itself, and it just his manner where he lived was just so gothic and very Arkham, like from the Batman Arkham video games. It was dark, it was rainy, it was just beautiful. It's a beautifully filmed. It's a piece of art.
I mean, even with the trailer, when we saw something, I think it was the Batmobile reveal or whatever, when they did like the camera flip shot, like I immediately knew, seeing that trailer, I was like, oh, this movie's going to be shot fucking wild. They're going to have like some...
There's tons of that shit. Like, there's tons of... There are tons.
Who is the director?
Matt Reeves.
Well, we need more Matt Reeves in our lives because clearly he's awesome. Crushing it.
Dude, it's really, really fucking good. It's really, really good. And it's different than anything. I know if you're only into action and you just want to see Batman with all of his gizmos and gadgets and fucking, you're probably not going to like this. Like, it's different. You might like elements of it, but you might leave slightly disappointed. But if you're in it, if you enjoy movies like Seven or like darker
Sicario, maybe.
Yeah, like not necessarily that, but it's similar. If you're into a serious drama and a detective type shit, you're gonna eat this movie up because then you get Batman in it as well.
True Detective season 1.
Yeah, there you go. It's got that feel. It's got that feel. And it's really, really smart. It's a smart movie. So 9.2. It's gone up since I started thinking about the movie. I'll watch it again once I can get it on digital, and I'll watch it with Kayla. But if you guys are on the fence and you're scared about Twilight, bro, you don't have to worry. All right, you don't. You're gonna get it. You're gonna get a little tiny bit of the emo, eye makeup and the brooding and stuff, but like that, you're gonna get that in the Bruce Wayne element of it, and you only get maybe in the entire 3-hour runtime, you maybe get 20 minutes of Bruce Wayne in the entire film. Everything else is Batman. So, you're not going to get much. And you realize why he acts that way. And once you know that, then you're okay with it. Because if I only got that for, 2.5 hours and I got 30 minutes of Batman, yeah, it'd be a different story. But it just works. It just fucking works. Run out and see it. They're doing 2 more of these in the same universe. So it's going to get, it's going to get better. I like the way they ended it in terms of for the next one. But the third act in the film is the worst act of the movie simply because it was such a perfect first hour. You can't get better than this for the whole package. I've seen better action. I've seen better. I actually haven't seen better filming in a comic book movie, but I've seen better action. Like, the first opening scene of The Dark Knight Rises where they do that bank heist with the Joker and everything. That was amazing when I first saw it. This first hour, although it isn't as crazy action-packed like that is, it's just better. It's just better. And that's all I can say because I don't want to spoil anything. But it's good. And when Batman first shows up, dude, I mean, God, it almost gives me goosebumps the way the shit and the way, dude, the villains, man, they're afraid of the shadows. Like you get points of views from the bad guys, and they make a conscious effort to like look in the shadows because they're scared. When they see the bat symbol, it's a warning. It's not a call for Batman. It's a warning to the criminals, and they're scared. And when you first see Batman show up, you're like, oh my God. And the shit he does, man, it's good. And the last thing, he's not like invincible in this. Like he gets his ass whooped sometimes. Like not to the point where he looks weak, but it isn't like John Wick where, he's whooping everybody's ass and two-tapping everybody and he makes it look easy. When there's a lot of people fighting him, he gets the upper hand because he's Batman. But like he takes some lickings, he takes some lickings. And I like that. Because this is year 2 Batman. He's trying to figure, he's only getting into it. We don't have to go through the origin story about his parents and see all that shit. We get to bypass that. They're treating the audience with respect here because we've seen it. But, at the same time, he's still new in the bat suit. So, it's nice. I like it. Check it out.
No, I'm happy. I'm happy that that's the case because I've become more and more of a Robert Pattinson fan over the years. Obviously I was on board with the whole like Twilight hate bullshit, and that's because the Twilight movies are fucking abysmal. But as soon as you realize that him and Emma, what's her name? Was it what's the girl's name that played fucking in Twilight?
Oh, Kristen Stewart.
Kristen Stewart.
Yeah.
Both of them. After the first, you're in it for a paycheck. You're getting paid so much money. You'd be stupid not to do it. And you can only redeem those movies and the writing so much. I mean, truly, you're literally just hope and a prayer in that shit. And then they get outside of that. They make their money, and now you get stuff like this. Where Robert Pattinson's doing shit like The Lighthouse. Like, if you think that Robert Pattinson was going to do The Lighthouse if he didn't do and make all of his money doing Twilight. It was never going to happen in a million fucking years. But when you make all your money and then you can just go and do shit like that, now you can go ahead and do it. And now he's got, like, now people are slowly coming around to, like, Robert Pattinson, like Jeff was saying. He's the real deal. This motherfucker is like your favorite actor's favorite actor right now. Like he's kind of just in that slot. And you love to see it. I will say it was kind of hilarious. I can't remember who he was alongside in this interview anymore, which of the girls I don't know if it was, man. Yeah, I can't remember who it was, but it was for the Batman circuit, and he was explaining he was playing, or like he's a big fan of Final Fantasy VII, and he was trying to describe Final Fantasy VII in this interview while his co-star or whatever is like next to him, and she was just not getting fucking any of it. She was just so like, stop talking, what are you doing? And he didn't give a fuck. He was laid back, like relaxed in his chair, laughing, talking to himself. He didn't care if anyone in that room gave a fuck about Final Fantasy VII. That man went on like a mini fucking like novel about his game. You gotta appreciate when people just don't give a fuck. And he's definitely in don't give a fuck territory now. And after this movie, he's in super don't give a fuck territory, because this is gonna make big money. I wonder how much he got paid. Do we know how much he got paid for this?
I'm not sure, but he probably didn't make an insane amount for the first one. But these next two,
it's got to be like 15 mil or something like that. 10 mil or something.
Probably not.
Really?
He probably got around 5 million.
5 mil? Okay. And now if he comes back for a second one, where does he land then?
Oh, he'll get bumps. He'll get back end. He'll make some money on the back end, but I'm sure movies 2 and 3, it'll go up. It'll keep going up. Robert Pattinson isn't a $15 million guy, but sure as shit, probably we got 5 million for the first, like, easy, and then by the time he's all done all this, he'll probably make $50 million by the time he's done these 3 movies.
He missed the.
He's got that Twilight money, man. He missed
that Daniel. He missed that Daniel Craig hype where he should have been. He should have been in fucking what's it called? The that like the movies are like basically based on Clue. What's the friggin'
the guess or the yeah, I know what you're talking about.
Fuck, what is it? Yeah, he missed that boat. Daniel Craig's got that locked up. You're making 50 schmil on the worst accent. Knives Out, that's it. Worst accent in the world, 50 schmil. No big deal.
Well, that's just Netflix throwing around money.